Welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle, educator, healer, speaker, guide, and fierce advocate for your yes. I help sensitive and successful men and women find, reclaim, and live from their full embodied yes. Through empowering you to understand your energetic hygiene, establish healthy boundaries, and heal your nervous system, you'll be able to create your yes-filled life and move through your days with more freedom, more ease, and more joy. You'll hear inspiring stories of people who found their full-bodied yes, thought leaders who pursued their own dreams and are living life on their terms, and learn new ways to find the courage, joy, ease, and freedom to more fully step into your yes-filled life. Say no to the good so you can say yes to the great. Join me on this journey to discover your yes-filled life. Whether you're looking to break free from the golden handcuffs, start a new business, find your dream job, or simply live with more intention and mindfulness, I've got you covered. Let's explore the possibilities together and make your dreams a reality. Ready? Let's do this. Let's get you to your yes-filled life. Hello, and welcome back to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm so glad you're here today. Today on the podcast, we're going to be hearing from Alyssa Knapp, and you'll get to learn a little bit more about who Alyssa is in just a second. But, I was thinking about something the other day. I was thinking about how so many times we tell ourselves that I can't do the thing I really want to do because somebody's already done it. Has that ever happened to you where you thought, I have this business idea, but somebody's already doing that thing? Well, here's what I want to say. You know how you can drive down any commercial area and you can see all the different kinds of restaurants and stores, and how some of the same restaurants serve even the same kinds of things. Like, for example, I mean, I'm not much of a fast food eater, but this will really make my point. Think about how you can see a McDonald's and a Burger King and a Wendy's all on the same street corner. They serve basically the same kinds of food with a slightly different flavor. And the same thing is true for you. So if you have had something on your heart and you think, I really want to bring this thing into the world, but I'm scared it's already been done, I want you to be thinking about that the next time you drive by any one of those three kinds of restaurants. Your unique flavor is needed. Now, you're not going to be for everyone, none of us are, but you are that special someone for someone who really needs your mission. And I want to help you get your mission out into the world, connecting you with your inner soul's mission. And I'm so excited to be doing this in a brand new way. I'm offering Yes Academy, the retreat. And what we'll be doing is really honing in on how you can unleash and simplify everything in your life. Saying yes and having a yes filled life is not about saying yes to everything. No, no, no. In fact, saying yes to the things that really light you up requires a lot of saying no. No to really good things, maybe even good things that you've been looking forward to for a long time. Having a yes filled life is not about adding more. It's about removing the things that don't fire you up, that don't fuel your soul, that don't align with your soul's mission. So, Yes Academy, the retreat is for you if you are a high achiever, ready to find success that centers your well being, vitality, and creativity, and ignites your soul while improving every relationship in your life, starting with the relationship you have with yourself. To learn more, go to brendawinkle.com/retreat. This retreat enrollment is open through, let's just say, I'm going to say the middle of March. I've already got 2 complete rooms sold out, but there's still lots of room for other people. And if you have any questions, be sure you DM me on Instagram or send me an email at brenda@brendawinkle.com. Now, let's hear about Alyssa Knapp. Alyssa and I met through my friend Megan Moran, who you have heard on this podcast. She has a podcast called The Mompreneur Guide, and she's a close friend of mine. She introduced Alyssa and Alyssa and I absolutely hit it off. Alyssa is a master energy healing practitioner, mentor, and coach. She's a transformative force and seamlessly merges her fitness industry roots, academic achievements, 2 bachelor's degrees in psychology and health promotion and exercise, a master's degree in kinesiology, and her healing expertise. Transitioning from a university professor to a corporate climber, Alyssa's journey shifted when she embraced inner healing work. As a Holy Fire 3 Reiki master teacher, Gaia Reiki practitioner, advanced integrated energy therapy practitioner, cranial sacral therapist, and ACSM certified exercise physiologist, she embodies holism. A beacon for aligned success, Alyssa inspires others to build thriving businesses rooted in self care, love, and compassion. Alyssa Knapp radiates the magic of authenticity and success, and her holistic approach reflects a commitment to well being. Now, remember what I said right when you started listening to this podcast episode about how there were different flavors available for everyone? This is that concept. Alyssa and I, by traditional standards, would be competitors. But the truth is, we each have a unique flavor and we are each going to appeal to different people, which is the same thing that is going to be true for you when you begin to bring your unique mission and message into the world. Let's dive right into this episode with Alyssa Knapp. Hi, Alyssa. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Brenda.
I'm so excited for this conversation. I've been looking forward to connecting with you since we talked about your upcoming summit. And something in me just went, oh my gosh, it was like all the lights lit up for me when we were talking because we view energy in very similar ways. We view ethics in energy healing in very similar ways. And it's just a real honor to have you here.
Thank you so much. It is such an honor to be here and to be connected with other like minded individuals and practitioners and leaders in this field and in this area. And I think it's really interesting because you and I are both in the business world as entrepreneurs, right? And we're seeing a really big shift and change in that landscape. We are seeing that old ways are not working anymore. Old marketing strategies, old people putting information and programs out there that are unethical and do not yield the results that they promise. And because of that, marketing is changing. And I
Mhm.
think that energy healing as a field and modality is on a similar path. I think that, right, a lot of these tools and techniques and things have been around for since the beginning of time, let's be
Right.
honest, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Yeah, and they've always been present in certain religions and spiritual practices and things like that. And then, and because we all know the healers out there, right, who are like, "Oh, I've been doing Reiki for 30 years, 20 years, whatever," right? And then there's this newer wave where there's been this whole awakening on the planet and people are answering this calling in waves, like in
Mhm.
really big waves. And I don't know, I don't have the actual language for it, but I do know that there is a specific timeline where there are certain years where there have been just these big upticks, right,
Mhm.
in people stepping into their power in this very spiritual way. And same thing like business, when there's a big boom in something, not everybody is at the same level. Not everybody is on the same wavelength. And when that happens, not everybody is necessarily in alignment,
Mhm.
right? And as they do that, sometimes the wrong intentions are behind some of it, or people are putting things out there and stepping up into more of a mentorship role or teacher role before they've really gone through the shadow work and the steps and the things that they need to really ethically be in a place to do it. So I guess what I'm saying is that we've seen, there's a lot out there, a lot of programs, a lot of options, a lot of mentors, a lot of avenues that you could take down this road once you feel like it's time for you to step up as a, quote unquote healer, we all know we are not healing people. We are holding the space for those people,
100%.
right, to
Yes.
heal themselves.
Mhm.
And I think that we're at this level now where now these, I don't want to use negative terms, but these less than optimal, we'll say, ways of learning and practicing and getting into this field, I think we're just going to see a big divide. People are going to need to up their game and
Mhm.
make sure that they are learning these from credible places, from credible sources, from people who are informed in all of the different dimensions that
Yes.
this work touches,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And so, Brenda, as you know, I got this, whatever you want to call it, download, I guess, where it was just like, you need to gather these credible resources and individuals and people who are teaching their modality in a way that is just really informed again on many different levels and of a certain quality, because we're going to be keep seeing more of these waves. We're going to see more of these waves of people who are ready to quit the muggle life and let go of just, whatever you want to call it, the matrix. There's so many things that we could spin it as, but there are more of that happening, more of the people feeling the calling. And I want to make sure that those individuals have a connection
Yeah.
to something that's credible so that they can skip the trial and error of, "Oh my god, I just spent thousands of dollars on this thing and, now I have a spirit entity," or
Right.
something
So
like that, right?
let's back up just a second and we didn't even get a chance for the audience to hear about you and the work that you're doing. Can you give us just a 2 to 3 minute high level view of you and the work that you're doing, your background, and then I want to dive more into this conversation.
Thank you. Yes, I've gotten ahead of myself because we know I get passionate when we're talking about the summit. So, yes, thank you for reeling me back in. Yeah, so my name is Alyssa Knapp, and my business is Integrative Wellness Journeys. And to give you the short version of my story, I began in health and wellness 15 years ago, or actually 16 years ago. Every time we turn a new year, I'm like, oh, got to change those numbers. Adding another year to the docket. Yeah, and which makes it 6 years in my business, which is really fun. So, yeah, so I started in health and wellness. I was really more rooted into the connection between the body and the mind. I studied psychology, my degrees are in psychology, health promotion and exercise, and then I went on to do my master's in kinesiology, where I studied the psychosocial and behavioral aspects of physical activity. So, from very early on in my career, I understood that we're more than just a body, we're more than just a mind, right? There's so much at play when we're bringing the two together. And then through my own personal, I don't want to say battle or struggle because I don't think those words are really appropriate, but my own experience and journey with anxiety and mental health, panic attacks, things of that nature led me down a more spiritual path that I never would have anticipated myself on.
Mhm.
Like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, if you told me 15 years ago I'd be talking about Reiki and chakras and, energy and things like that, I would have said, "You are effing nuts, lady."
Oh,
But here we
same,
are. Yeah.
same. In fact, I was so curious about chakras and energy, and I didn't know about Reiki, 15 years ago, but it was almost like I was hiding that I was seeking information about this stuff. Like I was a closet spiritual wannabe. You know what I mean? Anyway, continue.
Totally, totally. Yeah, and I think a lot of people feel that way. They're in the spiritual closet, right? They
Mhm.
haven't really
Mhm.
understood the connection. And that was a big part of my journey too, was healing my relationship with spirituality and religion, because I was raised sort of half and half. My dad is Catholic, Roman Catholic, my mom is Jewish, and I was sort of raised as both and neither at the same time. Like, we celebrated
Mm.
holidays, I was forced to go to church every Sunday, yet I didn't really feel a connection. And for a very long time, I had a hard time using the words God or Jesus and things like that because it just didn't feel good in my body. So
Mhm.
actually, it was through this whole journey of first I started with mindfulness. I think for many of us, mindfulness is like a gateway drug into energy because we're
Mhm.
like, science, research. Okay, I can understand how this helps and this makes logical sense. Then you start opening more doors, and you're like, oh, there's this. Oh, there's this. And then all of a sudden you're talking about dimensions and aliens and stuff. And but yeah, so reeling myself back in again. So this is where I began. I began very rooted and grounded in the science field. I actually had been going down the road of getting my doctorate in clinical psychology. That was where I really was passionate and wanted to end up. And I wanted to bring in the movement piece. I wanted to bring the exercise piece. And spirit, creator, whoever, my higher self led me on this completely different path. I did not get into any of those schools that I had applied to and instead started a corporate life. And I started first as a research exercise physiologist, looking at these different methods for people with PTSD and depression. And then, as I got into corporate wellness, I worked as a clinical health coach. So, in that role, is where I gained even more information and knowledge around behavior change specifically.
Mhm.
Behavior change was really a big part of what I studied in school. And then it was okay, now how do we apply it to get people to live healthier lifestyles? Because
Mhm.
I always was in the camp of prevention versus treatment, right? So I
Oh,
always was like,
100%.
right?
Mhm.
Like, what can we do to prevent cancer, cardiovascular disease, all of these things, rather than treating it once it's a problem? And what I found after coaching literally thousands of people over the 5 years that I was there was it all came back to stress. It
Yes.
was all rooted in stress, whether you were trying to quit smoking, whether you were trying to lose weight, trying to manage your blood pressure, your diabetes, whatever these goals were, it all came back to stress, which then we have mindset too interwoven within there. And then, of course, behavior as a result of it. So this all fascinated me. I mean, I love learning and I love people and I love understanding the connection within all of this. And then what happened was as I got deeper in my spiritual journey, I understood how all of this connected to my personal greater purpose. And I think our collective greater purpose. And what I started to realize was that we are all living this really kind of crazy lie where we feel like we have to work, 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 work. And then
Mhm.
at the end of our career, we get to then enjoy our life. And then you get to reap the rewards of all the work that you put in. And I started having kids, and things just didn't feel right in the corporate
Mm.
world.
Mhm.
And then my career ended, my corporate career ended when the company I was working for went bankrupt, and I had to decide, do I want to go back into corporate? And working as a clinical health coach, and I was at the time a manager as well of the coaching department, that's not a very common job. So I'm like, okay, already rooted, already have a house. What do I really want to do? So I ended up starting my business because I had been working for entrepreneurs since I was 14 years old when I started working. And I knew that starting this business was going to be more than just me doing what I love. I knew it was going to be marketing, business, doing tasks that were outside maybe of the typical practitioner role. And that really excited me because
Mm.
I love projects.
Mhm.
Project planning is my love language. And so here we are. So my business has really evolved and developed from helping people with those personal problems and personal behavior change issues related to stress and anxiety and just becoming healthier in general. And that evolved to then becoming a Reiki master teacher and helping other practitioners start their own practices and witness the spark within them once they learn this first for themselves, much like me, starting with themselves. And then, oh my gosh, I really feel like I need to help others with this
Mhm.
gift. So it was a real natural progression. And now where we sit today, I'm still doing that, still working with my legacy one-on-one clients in that way. And now I'm more focused on helping practitioners to get better, hone their skills, to establish the boundaries that they need in order to be a successful practitioner, not just from a profit perspective, but also from a personal wellness perspective. I believe in we need to be person centric when we are in this role of holding space and holding energy for others. So I've kind of taken, I didn't mention when I was in corporate wellness, that was worksite wellness. So my job was actually to, we contracted with companies and we provided services, wellness services for the employees of those companies. So worksite wellness has been a real passion of mine ever since my undergrad when I started in an internship in this area. And that's another kind of theme in my work that I see coming up through these different waves of my career of integrating work with wellness. And it's really kind of fun and cool to see how I'm playing with that now,
Mm.
with this
Well,
sort of shift.
there's a couple things that I want to just really highlight. One is you were talking about teaching and leading and coaching healers to become healers. And one of the things that you said was they need to do their own work first. And that's the missing piece in so many healing programs. If we are not doing our own work first as healers, we don't have the capacity to heal or facilitate healing for other people. And that missing piece creates a lot of misfires in the wellness industry and especially in energy healing because if if we have unresolved trauma, unhealed child parts, we have all these energy misfires in our own bodies and then we go and try to support other people, it ends up to be a projection. Like we're projecting our issues onto our clients unless and until we heal those issues. So that was one really important point. And the second thing that you said was about stress and anxiety. That stress was the the common thread between all of the clients that you were seeing in the workplace. And I hear that anecdotally in my clients too. And so in my work as a somatic coach and energy healer breathwork facilitator, the thing that I see is that stress and anxiety are a result of overriding our own body wisdom and our own nervous systems. Do you find that that is happening for your clients as well?
100%. 100%. And it is that miscommunication between the nervous system and the body, right? And the mind and everything we're experiencing that is preventing them from moving forward. That
Mhm.
is creating the block, that is creating the self-sabotaging behaviors that prevent us from seeing any kind of success regardless of what our goals are.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, it's so easy for people to say, because this is what we hear in the culture, and it's definitely what we hear in the workplace, manage your anxiety. Let's take a pill. Literally, let's take a pill. And I want to say before I go one step further, no shade is being thrown at any medical interventions for depression or anxiety. And so I just want to say if you're on medication for anxiety or depression, you take that medication with pride. Number one, I want to say that. Number two, so many times our anxiety or our stress is coming from doing things we don't want to do, from having so much overstimulation in our nervous systems that we can't function. Like, if, for example, you're highly sensitive, you might get to a certain point in the day when you cannot tolerate any more sound. And I hear this a lot with clients. Like, I'm yelling at my family in the evenings, and I don't want to yell at my family in the evenings, and I don't know what to do. And all of a sudden, we insert a 3 to 10 minute break where there is silence, and the problem is solved. And again, it comes back to overriding those nervous system cues where, like, clenched hands, rapid breathing. And so I'm just curious, when you're working with your healers, because you have a Reiki certification program as part of your offerings, and you teach Reiki healers how to do this. How do you help them navigate their own nervous system responses?
Great question. And I think that's really important what you brought up too about the sensitivity part of it. Because what happens as you start to go through this process of connecting more to your higher self, to your higher power, to connecting to energy, you become more sensitive
Mhm.
to all these stimuli. I also don't work exclusively with mothers, but I do work with a lot of mothers, and I am a mother myself. And what we've noticed as moms collectively is that our nervous system also gets this crazy upgrade when you become a parent. I think it's a biological response that happens, which you
Mhm.
could understand why, right? Got to keep
Mhm.
another human alive. It is so important to manage the nervous system, full stop, before anything else. And how I share this with my clients is, first of all, many of my clients and students are coming to me already with a toolbox.
Yeah.
They likely already have a toolbox of things that either are working for them or have worked for them in the past. What I encourage my students to do is to use those tools. Use those tools the way that they would want their clients to use those tools,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And from my all of my work as a clinical health coach for years, working on, again, other behavioral things, I bring in all of the foundational things of as terms of setting a SMART goal, or setting a goal that you're actually going to follow through with. And it's funny because I have been doing, my gosh, why am I blanking on her name? Um, I've been doing her 2023, 2024 goals. Oh my gosh, what is that woman's name? She is an amazing author, podcast host, motivational speaker. Oh, it'll come to me. But either way, she was releasing these things about, evidence-based goal setting and different strategies and things like that. One of my clients had sent me the episode and I'm listening to it. I'm like, yeah, these are all of the things that I have learned through, in my professional studies and anecdotally, right, through all of the years of coaching and working with individuals one on one. And what that is what works for you.
Mhm.
Not, here is this blanket template. This is how you set your goal. This is how you develop a plan to regularly work with your nervous system and help to balance your nervous system. It's what works for you. So what does your life look like? And what are the best possible times for you to do this? I love that you mentioned your clients, what was it, 3 to 5 minute break or pause or something like that, right? So
Mhm.
knowing that it's not actually something that is out of your ability, that does not feel attainable or is realistic for you given your lifestyle. So it's, what are the tools that have already worked for you, or you already are, invested in, right? How can we integrate those? How can we use those? And the different little tools and tricks, right, to making something a lasting behavior, making it small, right? So something that you feel 10 out of 10 confident that you are actually able to do it, pairing it with something else that you are already doing, right? So
Mhm.
like that
Mhm.
habit stacking, and then also having some type of mentorship that you are leaning back on. So if you're an energy healer, how regularly are you getting energy healing sessions? If you're a
Oh
coach,
my gosh.
yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Okay, so, something was coming up for me as you were talking, and then you just, like, put the cherry on top, which is that when people begin this healing journey, a lot of times there's this idea that if I'm doing it right, if I'm actually being the right kind of energy healer, that I won't need energy healing anymore. And that it's some sort of failure to continue to need energy healing or coaching or guidance in any way. And I just want to say, and I know already, but I want to invite you to say whatever comes up for you. And for me, the thing that I know to be true is the more I support myself with my own energy healers, my own coaches, and really invest in taking care of my mind, body, spirit through the support of my mentors, the more I'm able to show up for my clients. It is not a failure to need energy healing or support or coaching. That's actually what catapults us into success. And I'd love to know what your thoughts are.
Basically, D, all of the above, everything you just said. I just agree 100% with. And if you're in this position, you can really look at it from the outside and understand why that is true, right?
Mhm.
Because you can only hold yourself accountable so much. You are only able to see so many of your own shadows and BS,
Mhm.
right? Because our subconscious is literally designed to prevent us from seeing those things, because we don't want that bias, right? We don't want that bias within our mind of I'm doing this, like, this is wrong, and, this is where I am. So having somebody else gives you that space to have those reflections.
Mhm.
And and yes, I mean, regularly scheduling that in, having that in, especially whatever the modality is that you're using and doing, you should be receiving that. And we're never done learning. And Reiki, and I'm sure breath work and all the other modalities that we're going to be talking about in the summit and that exist on this planet, none of them are done.
Right.
None of them
You
are
don't
done.
you don't complete them. You
Right.
you integrate them into your
Yes.
toolkit.
Yes. And they are evolving. The
Mhm.
energy of Reiki is ever evolving and changing, right? Because more of us, as we are upgrading and as we are doing the work, we are able to then hold a even higher frequency. And it's just going to keep getting better and better and better the more that we are taking that time to integrate. Another thing that I feel is important to mention in this conversation is pace.
Mhm.
And I think this is important for both of our audiences, right? Because we are both really working with overachievers, right?
Yeah.
Working with high achieving people and people
Yes.
who are not used to taking the break and not used to resting.
Mhm.
And if anybody who's thinking of going down this road, knowing that this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes.
Is it even a marathon? Because there's no end, right? So maybe it's not, maybe we even need to add another level on there. This is just a daily jaunt, right? That we are taking. And so it's understanding that we do want to have space in our journey, right? Space to integrate, space to make sure
Mhm.
that we are applying what we have learned. I
Oof.
just got out of a year-long shamanic experience where I walked the medicine wheel. I worked within each of those directions. And I am going to take maybe another year to really fully integrate that and really process all of that and really allow myself to deepen my connection to those energies. And I will be getting more shamanic sessions with my shaman and likely other shamans. I'm going to keep learning and keep expanding, right? So we don't always need to be on all the time. We don't always need to be actively getting better, right?
Right. Right. Well, and then there's this piece that you're speaking about, which is the overachieving healer. Meaning the person who signs up for 73 Reiki challenges and is working with 43 coaches and is doing all the things, and then they look up and they're like, I'm exhausted. I have no time to even clean my house. And then they become resentful of all of the people that they're working with because there was this like addiction to healing, addiction to personal growth, addiction to just continuing to do the next thing and not actually doing the work. And so, I mean, ask me how I know.
Right. I know. So it's like you're speaking from my diary here,
Yeah.
Brenda.
So, I think that not only do we need integration time, but we need to slow our roll on the achieving. And so for me personally, and I wonder what your signals are. For me personally, I know when I look at my calendar and it's back to back to back, like my whole day is filled with appointments. I know that I am getting close to this cycle again. And as a recovering high achiever, I mean, I still achieve high, but I do it with a lot more ease now. I know that that's my cue, my physical cue. Something is a little bit off. And I also notice that when I have this, it comes on like almost an urgency. Like I have to, I have to, I have to, I need to, I need to, I need to. And I have this push. I know that that's my cue. Whoa, I need to back off. I need to slow down because I'm not integrating anymore. I'm trying to like almost bypass the actual content that's coming up for me. And I'm wondering how does it, because every one of us is different. So I'm wondering how it manifests in your system. How do you know that you need space and time?
My cues are very similar to yours. One other piece that I've noticed, so learning and understanding my human design has also been really helpful. And in human design, based on your aura type, you have either a self theme or a not self theme, or I should say, you have both of those themes. So, depending on your aura type, so for me, my aura type is a manifester. So, my signature theme is peace. And my not self theme is anger. And that has been very, very true for me. So I would say when I start to feel anger, frustration, like you said, resentment and really questioning myself and what I'm doing, that's when I know it's time to take a break. Also, behaviorally, when I notice myself on my phone too much, multitasking, if I find myself working at night, too much at night, because I do take
Mhm,
clients at night, but that also is when I squeeze in everything that I didn't get done because I had appointments all day long or because I had
mhm.
these other things. And yeah, so when all of that starts to come up for me, that's a big sign. And I will also say the universe gives me signs through cancellations.
Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yep. Things going wrong, things not really quite working. When I'm sitting at my computer and I'm trying to get something done and I just can't, like if it's one thing after another, after another, after another, that's a big signpost to me to say, go take an effing nap. Go lay on the couch for a while and, like take a break. And it's really, really hard because it does not feel safe for my nervous system to let things go, to let them drop, to say, you know what? Tomorrow's it's just gonna have to wait until tomorrow.
Mhm.
And that has been a really big learning piece. I'm in that lesson right now as I'm coming off of a launch. I am, finding myself, with all busy with all of
Mhm.
these things. I see myself self-sabotaging by picking fights with my husband when there's nothing wrong there. But,
Mhm.
right, if things are going well in one area, you kind of notice, you start to seek drama in other areas of your life. And this has been a big lesson over the last year, understanding where I'm creating my own stress. And then when I do get those signals, then I will step back and I will look at the bigger picture and I will understand where I am creating my own drama, where I am creating my own stress from those outdated beliefs, from those old patterns that I just haven't been present enough to be aware of along the way. And I forgive myself. And I
Mhm.
forgive myself for making those decisions or saying yes to those things or booking these other things. And then I ask, okay, what do I need to do differently? Right? What do I have to do differently to not recreate this, right? And to
Right.
bring balance back in. Yeah.
I love that. The asking forgiveness, the slowing down, and recognizing and I love that you said this, Alyssa, that you don't feel necessarily safe letting it all go, but you do it anyway. And I think that has been the biggest learning for me too, is that it was shocking for me to realize that if I just pushed pause on everything and I go take a nap, nothing falls apart. In fact, everything goes better. And when you were saying you can start to see evidence of it with cancellations and different things like that, I think that is so true. So if there's little things that are starting to go kind of wonky in your life, whether it's you're an entrepreneur and you start having cancellations, or you're in the workplace and you start having conflict or missed deadlines or other kinds of stress, it's a really interesting invitation to see how can I just put a little bit more rest in my schedule.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you saw me looking down, I was just trying to get the name of that podcast
Oh,
host, Mel Robbins.
oh yeah.
Duh. I
Yeah.
told you, I mean, I knew. I'm like, it's so right there. I could see her face. I could see the podcast cover. I couldn't hear her name. Um, yeah, so Mel Robbins, so kind of bringing it back to that, she gave three really great questions to ask yourself in these improvements. And I think this is a really great tie in with this part of our conversation, which is what do I need to stop? What do I need to continue to do? And what do I need to start doing? So when I
Mm.
find myself getting back in these cycles of making myself too busy and all of these things, I ask, okay, what is it? Where am I putting my energy? Where am I saying yes to things that are not in alignment? What do I need to stop? What
Mhm.
what is going really well, right? What do I need to continue? And then what is something new that I need to start doing?
Mhm.
And yeah, and having these tools to lean back on, like Reiki, EFT tapping, breath work. I was actually thinking of you this morning in my morning meditation as I was doing my breath, because at the end of your summit interview, you bring us through just the most beautiful 5 minute breath work session, little mini session.
Mm.
And I'm just so grateful, like really, really grateful to have all of these tools, right? And I think that the more that we can, you and I specifically, and anybody else listening who's in the same boat, the more that we can really work on ourselves
Mhm.
and work on managing our own energy so that we can hold these higher frequencies to help more women, to help more, high achievers who are also here. Those high achievers are here because they're here to make really big waves in this world in like
Yes.
insane ways. Like I literally, it moves me to tears on a regular basis, the ripple effect of this work that we are doing.
Mhm. Exactly. You can't even see all the lives it changes. We can only see 1 or 2 ripples, and then, you hear back from people that, you worked with years ago and see the changes that they've made, not only in their lives, but in their families' lives and in the lives of everyone they work with. And I think that that is an important thing for us to remember too, when we're in the day-to-day, to remember that we are changing lives. No matter whether you're a healer or a lawyer or a doctor or a nurse or a teacher or an accountant, you are holding the potential to change lives.
Yes. Yes. Every single human on this planet, right, is that seed, right? Can be that seed for growth in somebody else's life.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yeah. Let's talk about the summit because the summit is coming up.
it
Tell us all the
is.
details.
Yes. So the summit is February 22nd to the 24th. It is a 3-day audio summit. And the audience for this summit are anybody who is feeling that calling to be a healer, to step into that role, to hold the space for others, or maybe really curious about what modalities they're wanting to use for themselves and then
Mm.
potentially practice later. And
Mhm.
so what this summit is about, it is a series of interviews where I'm interviewing different leaders within different modalities, specifically who teach, certify, or mentor others in this modality, so that I want this hub of resources so that these individuals can step in, learn what this modality is. They probably heard about it before, really understand what is involved in learning this practice myself. What is the potential for this to impact my own journey and the journey of others? And then again, connect them with a resource to be able to learn more about learning that modality, again, either for themselves or for others. And then there is a bundle aspect to this as well. So the summit is completely free. Anybody can attend. I encourage everyone to attend. And then if you want this extra tool shed. It's not even a box, it's bigger than a toolbox, right? It's a tool shed of other resources from these people and others. There are some others contributing to this outside of just the speakers themselves, of things to help you on your journey to go through that whole timeline and journey of the process from your own healing, getting resources for that, to okay, now I know I'm ready to help others. What's the next step that I take? To okay, now I'm ready to actually get this out into the world. How the heck do I do that? And how do I do that in a way that feels aligned to my soul and my energy? And that's really where I'm focusing on right now with people, is
Mm. Mhm.
helping them to find those strategies and ways to get the work out there as well. Because again, I feel like each of us are here to help with a particular problem, with a particular type of individual. And how do we clear that channel, right? From connecting us
Mhm.
to those who need what it is that we're doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. I'm so excited for this summit, and I will put the link to sign up in the show notes. So be sure you check that out. And yeah, it's just filled with goodness. It's going to be a chance for you to listen to a lot of different leaders and teachers and healers from a whole array of healing modalities. You can learn about them and get to meet some new healers. And also, just you don't have to sign up for every single one of them at the same time. Coming back to Let's just take what you have capacity for, but be sure you
Mhm.
maybe start following all these healers on their social media channels and all the things. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're not even like the summit's not even live yet, but um so as we come to a close, I would love to just ask you, was there one thing you did or didn't do that led to your yes-filled life? But before
Mm.
you answer that question, I want to make sure people know how they can connect with you.
Sure. So, how they can connect with me, my favorite place to hang out on social media is Instagram. My handle is Integrative Wellness Journeys. And my website is alyssaknappcoaching.com. So, you can learn more or contact me through there. Okay, so the question again was, what is the one thing or one main thing that I did or didn't do that led to my yes filled life?
Mhm.
Great question. Let's see. One thing that I did was understand my inner authority, my inner intuition and that compass, and learn when it is coming from a place when I'm getting a response from fear versus when I'm getting a response from my higher self. That has been 100% the biggest factor in leading me to this life because I have learned to say no to some really big opportunities. And I have learned to say no to things that are 100% out of alignment and yes to things that are scary AF
Mhm.
because that's just what that inner guidance system is gearing me towards. And it's always been a great decision or a great lesson.
Either way, it was great.
Either way, it was great. Highly recommend it.
Oh, so good. Alyssa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, everyone.
Oh my gosh, that was such a fun episode. Here are the takeaways. Number one, personal growth comes before healing others. We kicked off our conversation with a crucial reminder. The journey to becoming a healer starts with yourself. Becoming an ethical healer means that you do your deep personal work before guiding others. It's about peeling back the layers of your own experiences to serve from a place of authenticity and clarity. Number two, the mind body spirit connection. Alyssa's background in health and wellness, combined with her spiritual awakening, has led to her holistic approach in healing. And she talked about how stress was the common denominator for most of the major causes of disease. And so it's essential to integrate that mind body spirit connection. Number three, stress and anxiety are often signals from your nervous system. Listening to the cues of your body is critically important in recognizing your own needs so that you're not overriding your nervous system. You're not overriding those cues that indicate you might need more rest, more hydration, more nutrition, or just a break. Number four, ethical evolution and wellness. The wellness industry is constantly evolving, and we discuss the importance of credible learning and ethical practices. As the landscape shifts, we're committed to guiding you towards resources and mentors that honor that integrity of healing work. And if you're not talking about integrity, then it's not at the front of someone's thought process. So, invitation to really screen the healers that you're working with for that kind of language so that you know that you're working with somebody a high ethical standard. Number four, avoiding burnout as healers means self care is not just a buzzword and it's not something you offer to somebody else. It's your lifeline. Seeking your own healing is essential if you're holding space for others. Number six, and by the way, if you are an educator, you also are a healer of sorts because you know as well as I do that your students are coming to you. The same is true if you're a therapist or a nurse or a physician. You are a healer if you're listening to this podcast because the healing that you offer just by being you is really important and impactful to the world around you. Number six, committing to healing work is an ongoing process. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Creating space to allow yourself to apply what you've learned is essential. And number seven, continuous learning and community. We're really, really excited about a free offering. It is an audio summit that Alyssa is hosting. I'm putting the link to register in the show notes. You're going to want to go check that out and get registered, signed up for for this summit. It's called the Empowered Healers Summit. It goes live February 22nd through 24th, 2022. You can learn from experts in 15 modalities, gain valuable insights on your journey to embody your role as a healer. Thank you so much for listening to your Yes Filled Life podcast. If you liked this episode, would you please consider sharing it with a friend? And if you haven't yet left the podcast a rating or a review, that would be incredibly helpful. The ratings and reviews are so supportive in helping the podcast get noticed. And you want to know the number one thing that you can do to support the podcast? Subscribe. That's right. Just click that little follow button right up at the top of where you're listening. And that way you'll make sure that you don't miss a thing. Thank you so much for being here today. I am so honored and privileged to be guiding you toward your yes filled life. I honestly believe that the more people we have leading their authentic, soul led missions in life, the happier and healthier we all will be. Bye for now. Until next time.